The oligarchs of the world do not care whether you live or die. They do not measure success by the stability of your job, the safety of your street, or the weight of your child's lunchbox. They live by rules so alien to working people that they may as well belong to another species. Their laws are loopholes, or boundaries, or borders they can buy their way across, and their loyalty is to no flag but the one with a dollar sign on it. We look at Russia, a country with more billionaires and hospitals fit to treat its population, and we should understand that the existence of wealth at the top has no correlation with well-being at the bottom. In fact, the two are often inversely related. The rich are the few, the poor are the many. In the United States right now, since January, the dollar has bled value. The dollar index, which measures dollar against a basket of major currencies, has slipped by more than 8% this year. Your groceries cost more, your paycheck buys less, and the consumer price index shows a year-over-year increase in prices north of 6%, well above the Federal Reserve's target. And at the same time, for the first time since the dollar dethroned the pound sterling, global holdings of the US dollar have slipped to roughly 57% of international reserves. That's the lowest share in modern history. Numbers like that don't lie. They're not abstractions, they are verdicts. The world is telling us it no longer trusts our institutions. Think about that. The very foundation of American power since World War II has not been our military might or our cultural dominance, but the simple, brutal fact that the world trusted our currency. Dollars were safe, dollars were stable, dollars were the language of trade. That trust is slipping away, and with it goes the illusion of permanence. And this matters because losing reserve currency status is not some academic parlor debate. It means higher costs for every imported good, from your morning coffee to your kids' sneakers. It means a dollar that buys less oil, less food, less medicine. It means inflation that doesn't just sting, but burns. It means the rest of the world is hedging against our decline, placing bets that America is no longer the bedrock, but a crumbling pillar. Look at the BRICS nations. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa are now openly discussing alternatives to the dollar, with China brokering oil trades in yuan and Russia demanding payments in rubles or gold. Look at central banks around the world increasing their gold reserves at the fastest pace in decades, signaling that they would rather trust the permanence of a metal dug from the earth than the paper backed by our institutions. And when the world moves its money elsewhere, we will feel it most, not in Wall Street's boardrooms, but in our own kitchens and living rooms. Oligarchs will remain rich no matter what currency dominates. You will be the one left holding the bag. And the response from the Trump administration is to centralize power, to privatize what belongs to the public, to strip away the independence of institutions until all that remains is loyalty to a throne. They scream about communism, but are building a system that looks suspiciously like Stalin's Russia, where private profit is propped up by public sacrifice, and where control matters more than liberty. Nationalize, centralize, monopolize. The strategy is as old as tyranny itself. And Wall Street cheers, and the stock market flickers in the green, and our oligarchs pour champagne. But I ask you this, what does your pocketbook say? Are you better off? Do you feel safer with tanks and rifles in your streets as though democracy needed the bayonet to protect it? Do you believe for a moment that a rising stock index makes up for the fact that your rent consumes half your paycheck, that your insurance premium steals what's left, and that your kid's school is crumbling? These are the questions of reality, not a fever dream of a market ticker. And let's be clear on another point. Name me one truly free society that has ever used its military against its own people inside its own cities. You can't, because the moment that becomes an option, the decline has already begun. Rome turned its legions inward during its twilight when emperors feared citizens more than it feared foreign enemies, and the Republic was long gone by then. The British Empire used its troops in Ireland, and every shot fired only revealed how fragile its grip had become. Stalin's Russia filled its streets with tanks. Mao's China drowned dissent in blood, and at Tiananmen Square, the image of a lone man standing before a tank became a permanent monument to what happens when governments turn against their own. A subjugated people are not a free people, no matter how many flags they are forced to salute or pledges they are told to recite. The moment a government feels compelled to treat its citizens as enemies, it has already confessed that its legitimacy is gone. And the founding fathers, for all their flaws and hypocrisies, understood one thing with crystal clarity, that concentrated power is the enemy of liberty. James Madison warned us in Federal 10 that factions, whether they wear robes of monarchs or the suits of corporations or the uniforms of armies, will always place their own ambition above the common good. He didn't imagine Goldman Sachs or Amazon, but he knew the danger of concentrated interest, and he gave us a warning. Hamilton in Federal 28 spoke of the people's ultimate right to resist when government becomes an enemy rather than a protector. John Locke declared that government exists only by the consent of the governed, and when that consent is betrayed, revolution is not a crime but a duty. Montesquieu taught us that liberty requires separation of powers, of interests, of the branches of government. Without it, he wrote, tyranny creeps in by stealth. And Rousseau said that the social contract is not a plaything of elites, but a covenant that binds us all. And when a covenant is broken, society collapses into a war of wolves. And what are oligarchs now but wolves fattening on the lambs of the people? What is our condition now but proof that the contract has been shredded in the name of profit? And so we return to the simplest truth, that oligarchs do not care about nations. They do not care about communities or families or lives. They care about capital, and capital knows no borders. They will hedge in rubles if it suits them. In yuan and euros and gold, their survival is guaranteed. And yours is negotiable. And that is why we have to strip away this illusion that their gain is ever our gain. Russia's billionaires prove otherwise. America's billionaires prove otherwise. The stock market proves otherwise. Your grocery bill proves otherwise. And so the question is not whether the oligarchs will look out for you, because they won't. The question is whether you will reclaim the legacy that Locke and Rousseau and Montesquieu and Madison and Hamilton handed you. The right to say no, the right to resist, the right to remember that this government, this economy, this contract was supposed to serve the people, not enslave them. The right to look at soldiers in your streets and ask, is this what liberty looks like? The right to stare down a collapsing dollar and demand, who betrayed the faith that the world once placed in us? The oligarchs want you numb, silent, and afraid. The philosophers want you awake, and the founders, for all their contradictions, want you defiant. Which voice will you listen to? Defiant still death.